There's a tweet from Marathon. Oh, shit. Hold up. So Joe Ziegler here. Hey, everyone. We made a little video where I chat about what we're making on the Marathon team and what we've been up to in the dark all this time. It's not a gameplay reveal or anything, but if you're interested in hearing the latest, check it out below. Much love. All right, so this is the game director for Marathon, guys. That's 9 minutes? Okay. All right.
Yo, how's it going? My name is Joe Ziegler. I am a game director here at Bungie, and I am working currently on a little game that we like to call Marathon. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about that game and talk to you about what we've been up to, where we're going with that game, where we're going with talking to you as an audience, and maybe sneak peek a little bit of some of the stuff we've been working on.
Show us, Joe.
Just a warning, Joe, we won't be showing any gameplay footage today, but we will be showing a little bit of a sneak peek on some of the stuff that we've been working on.
Okay.
Yeah, so stick around if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Marathon, and let's get to it. Awesome. So a lot of you might be asking the question, what is Marathon? Well, Marathon is our take on essentially an extraction shooter. And if you don't know what an extraction shooter is, it's a game type where you essentially go into a dangerous world, a world filled with essentially hostile mobs and players alike that are all sort of existing in that environment and a huge threat to you and challenge your ability to survive and get out alive. The goal of every session is to get out alive. And along the way, you're going to be completing quests. You're going to be finding loot that will either help you upgrade yourself or things that you can equip to yourself to make yourself stronger. If you get out alive, all that loot is yours to keep. If you don't, you will be losing all of that and someone else will be able to take that from you. It's an intense game. So in that sense, we like to say it's a game that's not for everybody, but if you are interested in sort of having that intense survival experience and having a game where the stakes really matter and you feel like they're challenged to survive in a really, really harsh and interesting world, then Marathon's just right up your alley. So yeah, hopefully that sounds appealing to you.
I think most of us know that it's an extraction shooter, but there was like some like questions. I don't know, man. I felt like there was like some questions earlier this year and probably midsummer where people were questioning like, is it deviating from that in any kind of way with the whole like hero-based shooter class? But we've doubled down and said it from the very beginning, guys, that it was an extraction shooter, always has been an extraction shooter, and it has I guess, you know, archetypes, classes, whatever else, right?
The other thing to note about Marathon as a game is that we give you a lot of different tools to do a lot of different things inside the game. There's a ton of loot that you can find. There is weapons, there's equipment that you can equip to yourself that changes your stats or gives you sort of tweaks some of the things that you can do inside of the game. There is utility consumables that are sort of like items that you can use inside of the world, like things that are like mines or like grenades. There's also consumables that help you sort of heal yourself and give you utility in that sort of way. But beyond that, there's also this other layer that is what we like to call our runners, which is sort of the template by which you equip all that stuff to. So each runner has like a small subset of abilities. And on top of that, you get to customize however you want. Thinking about sort of what you want to accomplish inside the game, you might equip different types of gear to your character, to your runner, and then go on those runs with that gear in mind. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways a run can unfold inside of our game with all those different pieces. There's also a lot of different sort of objectives and things like that that exist inside of the game. But of course, every single one of them comes with its own risk. And the risk is always present that if you don't get out alive, you will lose the things that you have on you. Talking a little bit about the world of Marathon, our game is obviously set in the IP of Marathon, which is one of Bungie's classic IPs. I think the first game released in 1994, so it was quite a while ago. But what we're doing with that world is we're taking a lot of the familiar elements, especially a lot of the things around the mysteries and the kind of eeriness and sort of like the, how do I put it? Like the psychological kind of creepiness of the entire IP as it exists before. But we're layering on some elements that we think really help modernize it and also bring it to a new story that we can sort of, and a new world that we can sort of like continue to update and delight all of you with over the course of time. where are we at right now in terms of making this game? Well, for the past couple of years, we've been doing a lot of aggressive change to the game, and we've been iterating pretty heavily. And during that time, we've been testing with a lot of players like yourself, also with creators. And so it's sort of insanely awesome, and I'm filled with gratitude when I think about it, because there's so many people who've just contributed by telling us, hey, this thing sucks or this thing is great, in a way that really has helped us diagnose, analyze, and shape and shift the game in great ways. Where the game is at right now, there's a variety of different things at different states inside of the game. Some things are a little bit more complete, like our environments are starting to come together in a really, really beautiful way. Some of the character models we've been iterating through, so they're coming together, but they're not fully there yet. Our enemy models are still kind of a little bit in an early state, so we're still iterating through and making those things land in a strong way. And a few of the items are still kind of coming online. So it's a little early to show you all of it as one piece. But as you've noticed, like as many of you are familiar with, if you're familiar with game development, all these things are on track. They're not all together, but when they all do come together, we really, really are looking forward to showing you what that looks like, especially in play. Having said that, let me give you a sneak peek of a couple of images you might have been staring at that kind of exist in the background behind me. One of the images that is going to be showing up on your screen is of a runner that we have in our game. Its codename is currently Thief, which might give you an indication to how it plays inside of the game. If you notice, the character sort of creepily peeking around a corner in sort of that quiet moment before she makes her.
A thief? Yeah, thieves obviously do be thieving. Thieving what though? What would you steal from in an extraction shooter? I guess you can steal it like if there's like a vault or something.
Move. This is like sort of like the theme of that character in a lot of ways, and should give you a hint as to what kind of gameplay that character is going to be driving.
Well, I mean, like, could you steal stuff from another player? Like, could you pickpocket another? How would you even get close to another player without getting shot? Though is my thing. Unless you maybe had like an invis or something like that. But could you steal something from another player, dude? But that's got to be infuriating. What if you had like a really good weapon? What if you had last word and then somebody stole your last word mid fight? How does that even work? How do you even balance that?
I'm trying to avoid giving away too many of the details, but there's a lot of exciting ones, and we've been testing this character recently, and I will say there's a lot of hilarious stories that come from it, but also very, very crazy moments that this character contributes to the game. Then the other image we're going to show you right now, which you're going to see on your screen, is that of a character we codenamed Stealth. This runner is obviously a stealthy type of runner.
This is where
and they sort of are in that space where when we talked about deception as a runner utility trait, they really embody it, and they're really hard to pin down, and you can see that they have the tools to stalk the battlefield and show up in ways that allow them to kind of take advantage. So
look at it. It's like only pieces of him are invisible right here. His hand, his leg. It straight up looks like Aldrin though.
I play this character actually a pretty decent amount. Can't say that I want it to be stronger because it's probably a little strong right now, but by the time we get it to all of you, I'm sure it'll be in a good place. Yeah, so that's it for some of the previews we have. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a taste and moose-bouche, if you will, of content that we have before we reveal a lot more for you in sort of the midst of 2025. Speaking of 2025 as well, like we said before, we've been really iterating with our players. And so in 2025, we're going to be expanding our playtests a little bit wider and wider. We're looking to add a significant amount of players to each of our milestones as we're going forward. And some of these big inflections are opportunities for you all to join us. We'll definitely let you know when that happens. But if you're interested in following us or learning more or sort of keeping up to date with all the updates that we have, definitely one of the ways you can do that is wishlist us on the storefronts that exist, whether it be Steam, on Xbox, or on PSN. All of them have wishlist buttons. If you click that, it will help us know that you want to learn more about the game, and we can sort of send the information your way. Well, thank you all. I just want to say a lot of different things, actually. I have so much gratitude right now that I don't know if I could fit it all in this video, but what I will say is that thanks to the team. The team has done an amazing job, and they continue to advocate incessantly for all of you to make sure that the decisions we're making aren't holding back what you all care about. And every day there's endless debates focusing on what is the right way to continue to proceed to engage this game with you. Our goal is ultimately to make a game that all of you feel like is worth spending your time, and because time is so precious, like spending your time on and really, really finding the fun and finding that storytelling space where you create the memories that you want to. Second of all, thank you all for actually following us. I mean, we do this all for you. And so the interest that you show in sort of engaging with all of the content that we've created, with sort of wanting to learn more about our game really fuels us on a daily basis. So I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you to you all. And we're excited to engage with you more in 2025 and beyond as we sort of bring this game to all of you to play. So thank you so much.
All right. Can I just say, one, I love the conversation that Joe is having here directly with us. I think it's great. However, I'm very skeptical this game comes out in 2025. Maybe I'm wrong, but this kind of sounds like 2026. I think this is more of this. To me, this video comes off more as like a reassurance thing, like a doubling down of like from the game director, the source itself, that hey, Marathon is still an extraction shooter. There was a lot of wild speculation, right? It's gonna have these classes here, right? And then give you ideas of at least what these two of these classes are gonna be like, the thief and the stealth. I do believe that gameplay sooner rather than later would be really, really good. Maybe they haven't reached that polished point. Maybe they're working their core systems first. It's like with a lot of these games, it's like when they're in the development stage, it definitely won't be polished, right? They're all in these like super pre-alpha states or dev states, and everything looks like utter shit normally is what ends up being the case. Not saying that's what's going on with Marathon. So nothing is in a presentable state, but that's because everything that's being worked on or core things, gameplay, loot that you get in the game, PvE enemies, if they're PvE enemies, how they react to you, time to kill, movement, if there's a stamina system or whatever, you know what I mean? Like things like that those are the core things that are like worked on, then worked on again through, you know, multiple layers. And then as you get closer to finalizing those core systems, you start to just go ahead and give it the polish throughout the whole game. And that's whenever it's in a presentable state for people. My question is like, because he made a point in this video that they've been hard at work redesigning systems, right? So A, how far along was it whenever we saw the first trailer of Marathon? And B, you know, how much has Joe as game director and also, you know, the team at hand redesign things? Keep in mind, it's been tumultuous. You got to understand, you had Chris Barrett, who was the original game director. Then he's no longer the game director. Joe Ziegler has taken over. I think Joe Ziegler is probably the better game director for something like this because he's got a background in competitive shooters. I'm Valorant. But again, I kind of just bring this back. I would be very surprised if it comes out next year. It may. I don't know how quickly those last polished things or how far along core systems are for a game like this. I do know that extraction shooters are popping up left and right. I mean, they're popping up left and right, dude. We just played Arc Raiders and their playtest this past weekend, and I think they're going to be shipping out maybe next year, something like that. I will say, hopefully Bungie and Marathon can get on the ball sooner rather than later. Hopefully they can get an open playtest for everybody to play in. Hopefully it reaches a polished enough state within the next, you know, I would say quarter to show off some gameplay. That would be great. But my gut is telling me 2026.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.